सही करे, मैं तो कह रहा हूँ डन कर लेते हैं।
बढ़िया करे यार।
पार्टी करेंगे, पार्टी 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 पार्टी।
हेलो बेटा, तुम लोग यहाँ शिफ्ट हो रहे हो?
मोस्टली आंटी।
सही है। मेरे हस्बैंड है ना, तो इनके कुछ दवाइयाँ चाहिए, वो आप ले आओ। प्रेस्क्रिप्शन। हाँ। कितनी अच्छी बात है, तुम जैसे यंगस्टर्स इस बिल्डिंग में आ रहे हैं। पैसे तो लो। अच्छा, मैं क्या कह रही थी, जब आप मार्केट जा ही रहे हो तो मुरारी की दुकान से एक डबल रोटी और थोड़े अमरूद ले आना, बहुत अमरूद खाते हैं।
अच्छा अमरूद।
अच्छा सुनो, बच्चे जा रहे हैं, तुम्हें कुछ चाहिए? यही लेके आना बेटा।
आंटी जी एक मिनट। पार्टी नहीं, ड्यूटी लगेगी। Housing.com।
Housing.com with maximum owner properties. Housing.com पर से perfect. Download now.
आते हैं आंटी लेके, हाँ सामान आपका।
दूध ले आते हैं हम, ठीक है?
चलो फुटले।
Hello everyone. Namaskar, Salaam, Sat Sri Akal, Vanakkam. We are back with a fresh episode of Keeping It Real by Housing.com. This is India's first real estate focused podcast. It brings to you updates, views and insights about the realty sector, an explainer on a chosen subject, and a deep dive into an industry trend or topic. You can catch the episode on Housing.com, on the Housing.com app, on earshot.in, Spotify.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Ghana.com, and Geo7. If you missed the episode, don't worry. We have you covered. Wear your headphones or put on the phone speaker. You can listen to this while driving, eating, cooking, jogging, running, walking, chopping vegetables, or basically doing anything else whenever you want, wherever you are. Actor and influencer Abhishek Sonpalia shares his mera pehla ghar story. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman raises capital expenditure by 33% and allocation to Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana by 66% in the union budget for 2023-24. Maximum new residential real estate supply in 2022 was concentrated in the rupees 1 to 3 crore price bracket. Government approves 28.5 kilometer Gurgaon Metro corridor from HUDA city centre and Cyber City. And property purchase with siblings? Is it ideal? Details of all these and much more in this episode. Stay tuned. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman presented the Union Budget for 2023-24, raising capital expenditure by 33% to rupees 10 lakh crore and announced a slew of other measures, including changes in income tax slabs. The Finance Minister also raised the outlay for the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana by 66% to over rupees 79,000 crore. Commenting on the budget, Mr. Dhruv Agarwala, Group CEO Housing.com, PropTiger.com and Makan.com said,
Overall, the budget is a very positive budget from my standpoint. I think it's inclusive, it's growth oriented, it's going to promote job creation, and at the same time, there is a view towards fiscal consolidation as well. So, a very fiscally prudent budget as well. From the point of view of real estate, I think one thing which will definitely benefit the sector is the rationalization of the income tax slabs. Is going to put more money in the hands of the middle class, which I think will sort of in a way alleviate or counterbalance the challenges we are seeing from rising interest rates. And I think it's going to frankly promote people who've sort of been on the fence in terms of buying a home. Is going to give them that encouragement to actually go out and make that decision. Otherwise, even if you look at the spends on infrastructure, I think you mentioned the fact that there's a massive capital outlay of 10 lakh crores. I think that's a big one. Similarly, the increase for the PME scheme, the Prime Minister Awas Yojana, that's gone up significantly. Again, a record capital allocation towards the railways, as well as the Urban Infrastructure Fund, which has been sort of started or envisioned to promote urban infrastructure in tier 2, tier 3 cities. I think all this spend will promote better infrastructure, which will always provide an additional boost to real estate.
Your first house is always special. The feeling, the experience, the excitement, the emotions, everything is so overwhelming and distinctive. This is true for everyone. In this episode, actor and influencer Abhishek Sonpalia shares his Mera Pehla Ghar story.
हाय माय नेम इज़ अभिषेक सोनपालिया। मैं एक एक्टर हूं और एक कंटेंट क्रिएटर हूं। हमें रोज़ के हिसाब से कुछ ना कुछ नया क्रिएट करना होता है ताकि लोग खुश रहें। और मेरा मानना है कि आप लोगों को तभी खुश कर पाएंगे जब आप खुद खुश रहेंगे। और मेरी खुशी मेरे घर से जुड़ी थी, क्योंकि मैं कई सालों तक रेंट पे रहा हूं। और रेंट जब जब जाता था, कहीं ना कहीं दिल को चोट पहुंच जाता था। मेरे आसपास सभी मकान ले रहे थे। मुझे डर था कि मैं शायद मकान नहीं ले पाऊंगा, लेकिन कई सालों की सेविंग के बाद ये मैंने ख्वाब पूरा किया। वो कहते हैं ना कि अपनी चीज अपनी ही होती है, चाहे छोटी या थोड़ी ही क्यों ना।
The data and insights for residential real estate sales of the calendar year 2022, which is January to December, suggest that demand has grown both sequentially and annually during the year. The latest report by PropTiger.com, the country's leading online real estate brokerage company, says that a total of 4,31,510 units were launched in 2022 between January to December. New launches have breached the pre-RERA levels, registering a 6% increase as compared to 2015 levels. New supply registered a year-on-year growth of 101% when compared to the year 2021. Mumbai has been a front-runner in terms of new supply, taking a share of 39% in the overall new launches, followed by Pune and Hyderabad, which took a share of 18% and 19% in the new supply in 2022. A large chunk, about 26% of sales, were concentrated in the 45 to 75 lakh price range. Notably, the share of units in the more than rupees 1 crore price bracket has been growing continuously. This price bracket took a share of 22% in 2022, the highest in a decade. In 2022, 21% of the units sold were ready to move in, while the remaining 79% were under construction, the PropTiger.com report said. In the fourth quarter, which is October to December 2022, residential demand was at par with the pre-pandemic levels of 2019. With 80,770 units sold in the final quarter of 2022, the demand registered 19% growth over the same quarter of 2021. The income outlook has strengthened significantly post the pandemic lows and has reached an all-time high of 65% since 2020. Strong services activity, optimistic hiring scenario, and range-bound unemployment rate have all acted as sentiment boosters, bolstering consumer confidence in their future earnings. We spoke to Ankita Sood, head of research at Housing.com, PropTiger.com, and Makan.com to break down the numbers for us. Let's listen in. Hello and a warm welcome, Ankita. Glad to have you again for this show.
Thank you, Gaurav. It's always, it's an interesting discussion that we have. I hope people benefit out of these insights. Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. There's no gainsaying the fact that the people and listeners are actually benefiting quite a lot from the insights that you share. For this episode, we'd like to discuss a little bit more about the PropTiger report and the consumer sentiment survey. The survey show a visible change in approach towards home ownership amongst consumers in the aftermath of the pandemic. What, according to you, is driving the confidence among property developers and encourage them to launch record number of units in 2022?
Sure. I'd divide this answer into sections, and obviously, like we know, the pandemic had a huge impact on lives and livelihood. And these 2 years have actually changed the consumer behavior towards residential realty. Now, to give our listeners a context, we know that the sector was in a downturn since a very long time now, with oversupply, land acquisition woes, litigations. The shadow bank crisis happened, incompletion of major infrastructure projects and residential projects. All of this negatively impacted the demand sentiment. Now, further to this, policy and structural changes in the form of demonetization, kicking in of RERA and new GST regime in 2017, though positive, all of these things, restructured the supply side, business as usual, and made them sit back and take note and gauged where the demand is coming from, rather than, launching new projects. Now, since we've spoken about what impacted the demand and what impacted supply, now all of this together, coming to your question, we can only say that the pandemic acted as a booster shot for the reeling sector and rewired the relationship of consumers, predominantly the end user, towards home ownership. The positive home buyer sentiments, stemmed not only from the safety and security which the home provides, and home was not just looked at as an investment avenue. Now, these trends we are seeing not only in the metros, but also in the tier 1 and 2 cities, smaller cities as well. So not only investment, but a safe haven in the eventuality of such testing times. Now, this rewiring of the positive demand sentiment actually encouraged the developers and infused the confidence in the supply side as well. Now, in case of the tier 2, the tier 1 cities, the top 8 metros, residential demand grew by a whooping 50% on a year-to-year basis in 2022, with more than 3 lakh units being sold across these top 8 cities, which was predominantly end user. Now, this substantial recovery from the pandemic lows continues, Gaurav, despite the absence of any market stimuli, such as, stamp duty waivers or low, interest regimes. We're still low, but, interest rates have gone up. Now, substantiating to this, the credit growth in housing has also been in double digit since April of 2022 and recorded a 16.2% growth in November 2022. Now, all of this put together, the demand sentiment being positive, no stimuli in the market, despite that, the demand is revived. Now, all of this has infused confidence in the developers and has encouraged them to launch new projects after the supply started thinning in 2016, when RERA kicked in, 16-17. The new supply levels today have breached the pre-RERA levels of 2015, with approximately 4.3 lakh units being launched in 2022 alone across these 8 cities, a 6% higher growth than what we had in 2015. So yes, developers are positive. They have gauged where demand is, and they are very, I would say, smartly and taking note of, what the buyer wants. So the project launches definitely have come back with a thump. And of course, pent-up supply was there. We had a lull period of the pandemic as well. But still, having said that, breaching the 2015 levels is a testament to the fact that the supply side is very confident on the current home buyer sentiment, that's driving the market.
Very insightful, Ankita. In fact, the rewiring of this confidence and the home buying sentiment probably is also getting reflected in the price points. The share of units in more than rupees 1 crore price bracket has rose 16% in 2019 to 28% in 2022. Whereas in the case of units in less than rupees 45 lakhs, the share in supply has reduced from 51% to 30% during the same period. How would you read these numbers, Ankita?
So, yes, Gaurav, the pandemic-driven demand-supply dynamics have resulted in a substantial growth in not only the new supply, but also demand in the more than 1 crore price bracket. Now, there was an influx of projects in the less than 45 lakh price bracket somewhere in 2017-18 period, which was also backed and enabled by policies and a thrust on affordable housing. Now, we see that the share in supply has reduced of the less than 45 lakh price bracket, as projects are also in their completion stage. Also, the supply side, is very, very cognizant right now of where the demand is coming from. And currently, especially post the pandemic, properties in the mid to high segment are fueling this demand. The upgradation is happening, or people are looking for quality over, I wouldn't say affordability. Of course, affordability is paramount, but still, they are very careful in assessing where they are betting their money on, which project are they, betting their money on. So this mid to high segment is fueling this demand, especially post the pandemic. Now, our data also suggests that the share of demand in the more than 1 crore price bracket has increased to 23% in 2022 from 16% in 2019. Now, logically, one would think that post the pandemic, of course, economic uncertainty, income instability, but all of these factors kept aside, this, demand has risen to 23% from 16 in 2019. Now, in line with the demand, the share of new units launched also in this particular price bracket has also grown from 28% to 16%. Grown to 28% from 16% during the same period. So definitely it is, the supply is following the demand is, something that I would read these numbers as. Apart from the rising confidence in income and spending, the hike in interest rates relatively have had very less impact on the home buyers, predominantly the end user, looking for properties in the mid to high segment, as compared to end users looking for homes in the less than 45 lakh price bracket. So just putting everything into a nutshell, supply right now is following demand and not vice versa.
Very interesting. Supply following demand is a very happy augury for the property market as well as the overall real estate industry. And on the back of it, also rising consumer sentiments is a situation that the entire industry probably was waiting to be in. Thank you, Ankita. As always, a delight to speak to you.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you so much.
Gurgaon is set to see the expansion of its metro network in the first half of 2023 as the Public Investment Board, or the PIB, has approved a 28.5 kilometer proposed metro corridor between HUDA city centre and Cyber City. The project will cover the entire city of Gurgaon. It will provide an efficient and environment-friendly transport system to the residents of Haryana, particularly those living in Gurgaon and neighbouring areas. It will help students, women, working professionals and office goers in Gurgaon and around. The metro corridor from Rezangla Chowk in Gurgaon to Sector 21 in Dwarka was already approved by the Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar and is also being further sent to the central government for approval. It will provide seamless connectivity from Gurugram to the Indira Gandhi International Airport, Delhi. The PIB approval was announced by Haryana Chief Secretary Sanjeev Kaushal on November 18, 2022. As per officials of Haryana Mass Rapid Transport Corporation, or HMRTC, the work is expected to begin by March 2023. The Rs 6,000 crore metro corridor in Gurgaon, comprising 27 stations, has a deadline of 2026. It will improve connectivity to several densely populated areas, besides bridging old and new Gurgaon. As per the detailed project report, there are 27 elevated metro stations: HUDA City Centre, Sector 45, Cyber Park, Sector 47, Subhash Chowk, Sector 48, Sector 72A, Hero Honda Chowk, Udyog Vihar 6, Sector 10, Sector 7, Basai, Sector 9, Sector 7, Sector 4, Sector 5, Ashok Vihar, Sector 3, Bajghera Road, Palam Vihar Extension, Palam Vihar, Sector 23A, Sector 22, Udyog Vihar 4, Udyog Vihar 5, and Cyber City. A metro station at Sector 101 will be part of the spur to the Dwarka Expressway. There will be an interchange with Rapid Metro connecting Cyber City and Sector 56, and to a proposed line from Palam Vihar to Dwarka Sector 21. Once both sections are completed, it will enable people to reach IGI Airport through the metro grid by changing the airport express line at Dwarka. Currently, Gurgaon has only 17 kilometers of metro line, a 5.3 kilometer section on the Delhi Metro Yellow Line, and 11.7 kilometers of rapid metro route. No expansion of the metro service has taken place since 2017, after the second section of the rapid metro on the 6.8 kilometer golf course road was opened. The rapid metro network was privately built and is now operated by the government through DMRC. It is said that blood is thicker than water. However, when it comes to borrowing, banks prefer spouses to siblings. There is no law in India that prohibits joint property ownership among siblings. As far as making the decision of purchasing a property with a brother or sister is concerned, you are free to do so. You will start facing problems when you decide to approach a bank for a home loan. Even though financial institutions like banks invariably nudge applicants to go for co-borrowing, however, they draw the line when you project your siblings as co-borrowers. Banks can go to the extent of explaining the benefits of taking a joint home loan, most preferably with a spouse, if they see the possibility of bringing a co-applicant on board. This is done to avoid getting the investment caught in a whirlpool of inheritance laws in India. Among spouses, the one who survives becomes the legal owner of the property and ultimately responsible for repaying the remaining home loan amount. After that, the property belongs to the children and the transfer is comparatively simple. The same, however, is not true for siblings. From this point, one of the two siblings get married, their families branch out, and this makes the inheritance of the joint property highly complex. As different families are involved, disputes are easy to occur. Most of the property disputes pending in various courts in India, in fact, arise from this sort of family misunderstandings. Even if both the siblings are unmarried, banks do not rule out the possibility of them starting a family at some point, which may unfortunately unleash the application of highly complex inheritance laws on joint family property. In case of married siblings, the applicants would anyhow face an outright rejection of their application. So, to summarize, do banks give joint home loans to sons and fathers or sons and mothers? Banks offer a home loan if the son is the only child and co-owner of the property. Do banks give joint home loans to daughter and father or daughter and mother? Well, banks offer a home loan if the daughter is the only child and co-owner of the property. Can married daughters apply for a home loan with parents? Most of the banks in India don't offer home loans in such an arrangement. That's it from us for this episode. We shall be back again with a fresh episode of Keeping It Real by Housing.com with information and insights on the real estate industry. Take care and stay safe. Take care and stay safe.